or they cannot believe it. I don't give two but I am telling you right now, that back there is not real.
Me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All I gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else is a leprechaun? Say yeah!
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh.
Before the Tic Tac type UFO was flying at such speed there that it barely was able to stay on their radar. They didn't get a chance to shoot it down yet.
It's all shifty lawyer talk. I mean, it's just like lawyers have scripted this shit. It's just so shifty how the words they use, the language and all this sort of stuff. It's so calculated, and it's war propaganda. It's so calculated, and it's war propaganda.
Hello, testing.
Hey, Tim,
1, 2,
how you
3.
doing?
This is the Theorists. It's Tim Wilms here.
Hey Tim, how you doing?
Hello, and it's
I'm good,
Andy
thanks,
Nolch, and
Andy. You're
I'm
in a
hoping there's
different
no
room
echo,
again.
Tim. And it's Andy Nolch, and I'm hoping.
Is there an echo this week,
there's
Tim?
no echo, Tim.
No, I
Is there an
don't
echo
believe
this
there
week,
is any
Tim?
echo. I'm sure that our fans in the live chat will let us know. Wolfman's Blunt Razor says, "Hail bus." And we also have Natasha who says, "I love brown men too, Tim." Oh, well, that's good for you.
What's that a reference to,
What's
Tim?
that a reference to, Tim?
No idea. I've never seen Natasha before.
So, but are you
Cinder
into
just
brown men or
told
something?
you. What's he
Are
telling
you
us
into
about?
man or something?
Brown in terms of what?
Yeah.
In what
That's-
regard?
I don't know. I feel like that's some sort of
I feel like that's some
that
sort of
Natasha's
intro.
written, I love brown men
Natasha's
too, Tim.
written,
So you
I love
must be
brown
into
men
brown
too,
men,
Tim. So you must be into brown men, Tim.
Do you have a black fetish?
Lady of Charlotte
Black
says,
Fetish?
"Greetings, love my echoes." I don't know where this echo is coming from. It's all fine on my end.
Well, this is tricky then,
this
because
is
I don't know
tricky
if
then,
the
'cause
people
I
in the
don't know
chat
if the
chat
people
are
in the
trolling
chat
us.
chat are
But
trolling
anyway,
us.
it's Tuesday.
But anyway, it's
so
Tuesday,
It's Newsday.
so it's Newsday.
And let's get quickly
And
straight
let's get
into it.
quickly
The first
straight
thing I
into it. The first thing I want to say is that the Hawaiian
fire was done
fire
by
was
the
done
government.
by the government.
They slaughtered people.
They slaughtered people.
Like at least 1,000.
Like at least 1,000 have died or whatever. It's brutal what happened, and we should start off the show with a 1 minute silence
to the victims of Hawaii. Okay, so we need to remember.
Like, and I'm not doing this as a joke because they really did get burnt alive, and it seems like this Hawaii fire was possibly the worst fire ever in the world. Like it was crazy.
Let's start it off,
So
Tim.
let's start it off, Tim. We'll do a 1 minute silence.
All right.
We've got to think about the
the Hawaiians and send them our love after they've been murdered.
We've got to show them.
We've got to show them the respect.
Oh, is that long
Now,
enough?
is that
Tim?
long enough, Tim?
I don't know where this echo is coming from. Seriously, it's not on my end, so I've got no idea where it's coming from.
So
People in the comments saying there's an echo.
Yes, I don't know where it's coming from.
This is
This is
ASIO.
ASIO.
Tim, this show's so hot. We're exposing the truth. ASIO has to suppress us. They have to screw up our podcast.
So it's showing up on your end, but not my end.
Look. I don't know if I can trust
the people in the comment section.
Yeah, I have no idea where it would be coming from.
Okay, well, Tim, we just got to get on with the show like last time and ignore this echo shit. Okay, so how about you play the footage? Are you going to play the footage of the Hawaii fire?
Oh, the 7-minute footage that you sent me.
Yeah, can you play some of it or?
All right, I'm going to leave the
no.
studio. See if that fixes it. You keep going.
Okay. All right. Well, the footage of I shared it on my Telegram channel. Sorry, I just ate dinner. And this footage, it's like a plane or a drone going over where the Hawaii fire was, and it looks really epic, and it just looks really brutal. Like it looks like footage of like those Japanese cities when they were hit with the atom bomb. It was crazy, right? How bad things are there, and only now Biden has finally actually visited this place, which I think's strange. He should have gone there straight away. So that's why I thought we should do a 1 minute silence, because this is seriously fucked up. What happened to these people at this location? And you can see one building is completely intact, and then the ones around it are fully burnt. And to me, that's so unnatural. What do you think, Tim? Do you think that's natural?
Well, I'm back now. Is there any echo?
Nah.
Okay, because anyone in the chat, can they tell if it's echoing?
So that means now that it went away, that means it was you who did it, Tim. You were trolling us.
I don't know how on earth it happened. If it's definitely gone now.
It's definitely gone now. Tim,
let us know in the chat.
Last time you did the echo as well. I thought it's been you.
No, I don't know how this happened, really. This is something wrong with the software. Are you claiming that I did this deliberately?
Yeah, I reckon that you're trolling it. You're sitting there, you're drinking beers before the show, and you're getting loaded, and you're trolling me.
This is
Tim
actually
all along.
Dawn Browning says Tim looks better on the right.
We should get into the theme of the show, Tim, and because we've got a lot to cover, and it's about a new COVID strain, isn't it?
Yes, there is a new super mutant strain of COVID. It's been given the name so far, Omicron BA 2.86. So it's a descendant from Omicron, but the reason why there is a cause for alarm is because, and I've got to share my screen again because I exited the oh no, this isn't. What's going on now? Anyway, I'll keep talking because now my screen share isn't working. But yes, so it has over 30 mutations, this Omicron variant. Here we go here. So it has been, it's got the nickname here, P-roller, which also is slang for dick or penis. So
what?
It has been
Can discovered. You say that again?
P-roller.
P-roller.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a bit weird.
Yeah, so it was only discovered last week. So first discovered in Israel. Then there's been 3 cases in Denmark. There's been 1 in the UK, and it just broke now. There's a second case in the US. So 7 sequence cases. So these would be PCR tests that they've put through a sequencing. So it's breaking news now that there's been this 7th case, and it's obviously everywhere, including in Australia. But it is interesting since the news of this new super mutant variant, we have had the mainstream media talking about a COVID surge, that you need to mask up. And of course, Alex Jones, he had a TSA insider who told him that masks were going to be back at airports from September and October with a full lockdown planned for Christmas, because what happens next year in 2024?
Election, and they need to do mail-in ballots to rig the election again.
Dawn Browning says, have we got the hazmat suits ready? Yes, because it's this, well, as far as there is no evidence that this strain is any more severe or is actually milder. We don't know. But of course, with COVID, you have to just assume that any new variant is super, super bad. And going back to this graph, remember at the beginning of the year when they put the testing requirement on people from China, it was the Kraken variant, XBB 1.5. Remember, that was going to sweep the world and lead to heaps more death.
Yeah, well, I heard Alex Jones mention this, how he said, he goes, I've got intel, it's coming, another lockdown's coming, it's coming right now, next month, it's coming, and they're talking about it. And then I saw some things that you shared, Tim, articles with the media talking about it. And then I saw the Alex Jones show from yesterday, which is the 21st of August, which I recommend listening to because he does a call-in segment and people call into the show and they say how they've noticed in their work and stuff like that. And these people work in different areas, different jobs, that there's talk about another COVID rules coming in, stuff like that. So I don't like to be all like doomsday. I'm not one of these people that are like, oh, there's an atomic war coming. There's going to be a nuclear war with South Korea now, blah, 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 or something like that. But if I was to make a prediction, it does look like something could be happening, and this is worth talking about. And that's why we made the theme of the episode COVID, because something could be coming. They could be doing COVID again.
Well, they've had a go at different things over the past 18 months. Remember when the original Omicron strain came out at the end of 2021? It seemed to spread all over the globe in a week. When the original Omicron strain first hit at the end of 2021, all countries had put in travel restrictions from South Africa and Botswana, and the COVID restrictions were also coming back. There was talk of a Christmas lockdown. They of course get excited, the media experts and politicians, about cancelling Christmas. That's a special thrill of theirs.
Yeah, look, they could be doing a big pump up in order to encourage people just to get their next round of booster. So
but the thing is that
advertising, basically,
that the XBB boosters, they are not they are not designed for this BA 2.86. So what they're counting on is that this will spread throughout the globe and at least cause a new wave. It's an added bonus if they can claim it's more severe, because then it'll be several months before Pfizer and Moderna have a BA 2.86 ready tailored booster. And so they'll have time to justify restrictions, masks, and lockdowns for Christmas. So actually, this new variant, they're hoping that it'll buy them, well, enough time for restrictions to get mail-in ballots for 2024. Because don't forget, it's not just the US presidential election, but also the UK general election next year. And now Rishi Sunak, he won't lock down. He's taking a very populist route. But if they can fudge a resurgence of COVID, they can get all the experts on Sky News UK and the BBC from their independent sage to say, yes, we need more rules, restrictions, and everything like that. And so they can do to Rishi Sunak in 2024 what they did to Donald Trump with COVID in 2020.
Well, I hope none of this happens.
No, and Alex Jones, he says if it doesn't come to fruition, he'll crack open a bottle of champagne because they will have been foiled. Because this is what they want to do. It's not necessarily what will happen.
Have you been drinking a fair bit tonight, Tim?
Why? Why do you ask that?
You seem a bit drunk, like you're
Isn't
slurring
it?
your words, like you're slurring a little bit. What are you drinking there? What are you having?
So it's White Claw Hard Seltzer, Blood Orange Surge.
Yeah, I don't think it's cool to get drunk before the show. We're trying to be professional here, Tim.
Oh, well, I try to loosen myself up because
But you're
otherwise,
pretty loose. I mean, like you are. How many
oh,
cans do you consider loose? Like how many have you had? 4?
oh, well, I'm pretty lightweight these days, so one can is enough to get me loose. Why do you think that's
You just
responsible for the malfunction?
you
I don't know
Tim
how that happened.
Tim
It was the software.
Tim. You think the people who are listening believe that you've had 1 can? Like you sound like you're fucked. Like full on. You sound so pissed, Tim.
Oh, some of our
I
best
like it. It's a cool Tim.
some of our best content has been when we've been quite had a few on election night streams. We're going to be doing one for the voice referendum and the
Oh
New
my
Zealand
god.
general election, which will probably be on the same day, October 14th.
Actually,
So
sorry. Actually, the voice referendum will be pretty cool because we'll probably win that. I think.
Oh, yes. But
Mm.
it was interesting that there's this secret audio of Anthony Albanese and Penny Wong. Very confident that they're going to win the referendum, which are you suspicious that there might be some riggers involved in the referendum? Obviously, we saw in 2020 Donald Trump. He was adamant that the riggers stole the election from him.
I originally did suspect that maybe they would rig this whole Aboriginal voice thing, but now the fact that it's too obvious that they're going to lose, I don't think rigging's going to occur. I
You
think
don't think
it's
they could get away with it? They got away with Biden, 81 million votes, the most popular presidential candidate in US history. And as Roseanne Barr said, that's the truth. You're not allowed to question it at all. It's
yeah,
the
but
truth.
okay, but with the voice thing, I'm not seeing a powerful group behind the scenes saying that this is going to occur. We don't care what the public say. I actually feel like they're possibly letting us debate it and think about it. And I think it's because they're making us feel like we're a part of a democracy and that we have a say. And it's about bringing us together. And yeah, we come together and we decide what's going to happen. Meanwhile, all these other things we don't have a say on. But yeah, you had a say on the voice, and the right wingers had their little win because they beat the voice. And it's bullshit. That's, yeah. Anyway, but about this new COVID strain, right? When we went into COVID, like imagine 2019, you never would have thought that they would do that. And now I feel like after COVID, I feel like they couldn't do that again. How the hell could they get away with that? That's too
No,
outrageous.
and it's probable that they won't. I mean, there is a hardcore sick COVID cult who it's funny that they say just keep getting the vaccines that we believe don't really work. That's why you should still wear masks and we should still have all of these restrictions. Don't you think that's a contradiction? Keep taking the vaccines, but you still got to wear masks and that because they don't actually do much.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. And it's like you fool someone the first time, but the second time and the third time, it's a lot harder to fool them,
I
right?
actually think that they would be these COVIDians. They would actually be disappointed if there was a sterilizing vaccine that eradicated COVID, because then then there would be no justification for them to like. They are obsessed with masks, obviously because it's a symbol of compliance. It's obviously covers the mouth, hinders communication, hides smiles, but they don't work. And I wrote back in September 2022 that masks are superstition. I mean, they have no effect on the curve. They're since then, there's been the Cochrane review, the gold standard into masks, that said there's no proof that masks work. And there was another study that they don't even work, don't even have any impact in hospitals.
It's just the whole thing's ridiculous. It's like the Trump indictment. Like, I don't like to talk that much about it because we know what's going on. It's all a political hit on Trump because he's right wing and possibly I think he actually has some kind of Russian connection because he doesn't want to have a war with Ukraine with Russia. And anyway, so they're just rigging the shit out of the US system. And it's like, I didn't even talk that much about the Trump stuff because it's all bullshit. And it's like the same with the COVID stuff. It's just all bullshit. And we'll see if we go back into it again. But I would be surprised. I don't think they could I just don't think they could get away with it. But then again, I didn't think they could have gotten away with it the first time. But they did. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Trump actually isn't allowed to post on. I don't think he's allowed to post anything that's is it about his court case or what do you know, Tim?
I think they got thrown out. They were trying to gag him from posting. This was about the January 6th indictment. So the latest one is it's been alleged by the Fulton district attorney, Fani Willis, that Donald Trump led a criminal conspiracy under the state's RICO Act to overturn the 2020 presidential election result in Georgia. And Trump has invented this term rigor. And I'm not sure if you know that apparently what he meant to say was the N word when he said rigor because Fani Willis is black. So, but because it's a made-up word, rigor, in terms of rigging the election. But as I said on my Tim's News Explosion last night, that it's now going to go into the mainstream, this term rigor, because people think that it's a dog whistle, just like it's okay to be white and the OK sign. So, of course, we're going to use the term rigor now because we all hate riggers, don't you? Down with riggers.
I wouldn't want riggers to be moving into my neighborhood, that's for sure.
We've got Monica Schmidt in the chat. I'm hoping there is mandates coming back in. I'm down to my last 50,000. Their Europe trip is expensive. Donations will go through the roof again. Yeah, so there will be a positive. Andy Nolch says, "Hey Monica, are you single?" And Bustling Billy says, "Monica broke up with the Jew, i.e. Morgan C. Jonas." So you're interested in Monica?
Yep. Just putting the word out there.
You think you're more you could be a better man for her than Morgan Jonas in all areas?
Yeah, like I wouldn't propose to a girl and then back away from that. So I don't think that was kind of strange when he proposed. I feel like he was just doing that because she just came out of jail and he was trying to be nice or something. Like it just seemed a bit strange, don't you think, Tim?
Oh, well, it was clear once they started working together that something was going on. Monica says, "Yes, Andy, I am single. My engagement is much like my gloves off, and she will do anything for a donation." Larrikin
that
says,
seems like she's implying something.
Larrikin says, "Andy Nolch, I can identify as single for you." Is Larrikin's picture is a dude. Is Larrikin a dude? Is Larrikin hitting on you?
I don't know, but my heart's set on Monica. I think
Well, she's got a new book out, Cell 22. When's your Cell book coming out? Because you got put in the slammer during COVID because you breached your corrections order.
I didn't do my I skipped a few community work things and went overseas and I had a really interesting experience. I mean, I really could write a deep book and it would blow the lid on how the government and the justice system works and intelligence agencies and all this stuff. I don't know if Monica's book will be as interesting. But yeah.
Well, Avi's book, A Rebel from the Start. I mean, he got a podcast appearance on Neil Mitchell. Avi's off to New Zealand now to promote his book.
Yeah, and I listened to his podcast episode with his dad, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah, they've made up after being estranged for many years.
Yeah, and his dad was in like a Jewish cult. Now his dad's left, and you
Oh,
can
a
see how
sect.
it's. Yeah, but if you've had experience in a religious group or a cult or whatever, like people put the word cult to like a Charles Manson thing or like a Jim Jones thing, but you can put cult to like just any tight knit religious group.
Like
And so
the Dan stands, the ones who stand with Dan Andrews.
yeah, you could also put it with the radical left, like the climate cult and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of interesting seeing how his dad was a radical Jewish guy who had 17 kids because he was so obsessed with the following the ancient books and stuff like that and what his rabbi said. And then he woke up, I guess, and came out of it. And it's interesting hearing the podcast. And he also, what was interesting about that podcast is that he mentioned how he likes that Australia has been flooded with immigrants because he fits in better. Because when he was a kid in Australia, I think might have been born here, but when he was a kid in the 50s and 60s, he was like the only ethnic guy, and he didn't like it because sometimes he would get bullied or something like that, or he wouldn't really fit in. And now he thinks it's awesome. He thinks it's great that there's just everyone's Indian or Chinese because then it's not like all these white guys everywhere bullying the person who's black or something. So it was interesting to hear that.
In European cities now, have you seen the footage? There's one from Brussels of a white kid being beat up by a gang of non-whites.
Yeah, I bet you in a lot of these areas, like low socioeconomic areas, where there's huge amount of foreigners, if you're a white guy in those areas, you're going to get bullied for being white, and you're not going to fit in, and your life's going to be shit. Look, there's other cultures, and there's other pieces of DNA because we're all just a piece of DNA. And from my experience in work and stuff like that, you get along with people with the same DNA as you because you think the same and you have the same abilities and stuff like that. Like imagine if you went out to an Aboriginal tribe, you just wouldn't fit in. You would not fit in. And so basically, yeah, that's why I'm not like a Nazi or anything, but I'm for like closed borders and keeping Australia white as much as possible, basically. And I want to live amongst other white people, basically, because that's just where we fit in the best with, and I think well with those people. You have to run a business and then go and see, and you notice that there are certain groups. I don't want to get us banned on YouTube, but there's certain groups where you're like, I don't want to work in that area. I want to work in that area, where there's all these white people because it's a lot nicer.
Though the Asian areas of Melbourne, Box Hill, Doncaster, and
Asians are okay.
It's pretty safe. The homeless
Asians are okay.
People are actually white. I mean, they're the people that cause problems.
Filipinos are a write-off. You know a lot about that, don't you, Tim?
Why?
I don't want to go into any dramas about the Unshackled or anything. But like Asians are pretty good. Like the Taiwanese are pretty cool, and it's a nice country, and that body type is, they're good. They don't break the law much, and you can get along with them, and they're great workers. And in Singapore and Tokyo and Beijing and Shanghai and Taiwan and stuff, that sort of body type is really dominating the world, and China's basically taking over because they're great workers and they're getting along really well, and they're using our inventions because a lot of this stuff we tend to invent. And they're kicking ass. And in 50 years' time, China's going to be even bigger, and everything's looking for world domination for China.
Larrikin says, I'd settle for a community that's not woke communist. Natasha again says, I love brown men and black men. And also says further up here that I'm downing my drink like an Indian man emptied his sack in it. I love myself a good brown man. And also Monica, she has said that Andy is trying to become a chapter in my next book. The gloves are off, and Kino pencil in a date for this weekend, Andy. But Dia also, she wants you as well. She says, I'd be keen to date you, Andy. Why have we never tried it before?
Yeah, yeah. That doesn't surprise me that Dia would be so upfront about her feelings because she's very randy from what I've heard. We don't want to get the video banned, Tim, but there's stories about objects, lots of objects, particularly big ones,
I don't know what you're
particularly
talking
big,
about.
particularly big objects. But we won't go down that path. But with this whole Trump thing, him having a leftist judge, a part of the
Well,
whole
that's it.
attack
That's
on
it.
Trump.
That's the other thing they're trying for 2024. So to basically, I indict Trump so much that, well, they're hoping that he can't run. So that's another tactic, along with the COVID resurgence. Global boiling, that's basically over for another year. So they can't try that.
Okay, well, hold on a second. You've given me actually hope because they're just going to lock Trump up. Like they don't have to worry about rigging this election because Trump won't be allowed. But maybe they might have some problems with RFK or whatever. So I don't know, but maybe they can. Like,
Oh well,
they kicked out
there's
Bernie.
always been a sure go Kennedy solution for the deep state. They tried something different with JFK Jr. It was a plane crash, which do you know that he's playing JFK Jr. He's playing crash.
Tim, seriously, you can't have any more tonight. Just don't drink anymore, okay?
This is nearly done, but his plane crashed when he was going to be challenging Hillary Clinton for the Democrat New York Senate position. So he could have been a victim of the Clinton body count.
Sorry, I was distracted by the comment section because the comment section's just crazy. Like the stuff they're saying. I thought that anyway, wild stuff. Wild stuff.
Lady of Charlotte says there's no law that stops running for office from prison. If Vivek is his VP, he can go on the road and do the campaigning. So
you're right, because but I reckon that they'll use. I reckon the powers that be. I'm not as concerned about a COVID lockdown coming now because I feel like the powers that be will legally work out a way to stop Trump running.
Well, that is their primary goal, and
yeah,
they're going to be trying everything. Obviously, having a new emergency for globalist control, they also want that as well. They have tried to push on fear about the next pandemic. You've noticed that they always talk. We need to be prepared for the next pandemic, and one of the old diseases that they're spinning as ripe for a new pandemic is bird flu, particularly the, make sure I pronounce this right, H5N1 bird flu, which apparently has a 59% death rate amongst humans.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I've got a lot of faith, a lot of hope that it'll work out good, and that's actually partly why we're doing this show and trying to warn people, and why Alex Jones is trying to warn people so that we can try and stop any lockdown happening straight up. And if they do anything, we'll have a massive protest straight up so that we have freedom and stuff.
Do you know that it broke in the UK a number of weeks ago that scientists are working on a vaccine for disease X? How can you create a vaccine for a disease that hasn't even caused a pandemic yet? How does that work?
I guess they use futuristic fancy technology or something, but it could just be absolute bullshit. It could just be like the flu jab or whatever. How that can never predict if it's the right strain or whatever, and it just doesn't work and it's bad. It could be like something like that.
So Dame Jenny Hariris, she heads the UK Health Security Agency, said what we're trying to do here is ensure that we prepare so that if we have a new disease X, a new pathogen, we have done as much of the work in advance as possible. I mean, wouldn't you need to actually know what the disease is before you have a vaccine?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they can work out some. I mean, here's the ultimate vaccine they could make. You inject someone with something, and their immune system increases in strength, and then every virus they can just shed off easily. Just invent that. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, but I mean that's what they could be talking about when they're saying they're coming up with some sort of vaccine that's like a general thing that can protect you against everything. I don't know, but we got to wrap up the show and keep it quick and stuff so it's entertaining. And I just want to say about Trump and these leftist judges that are going after him. They're obviously a part of the intelligence agency that are trying.
Oh, it's your latest article on the Unshackled.
Yeah, trying to shut down their thing. These leftist judges have written an article about it. It's on the Unshackled. They're causing problems to our whole system.
Well, you were a victim of it. So apparently the penis that you drew on grass, that apparently cost $20,000 to like repair the grass. That's what you got fined.
That was all. That was all bullshit. It was all rigged. It was just ridiculous. I went into before that, I knew that the conspiracies were around, but after that experience with the legal system, I was like, wow, conspiracies are everywhere, and they're so happening, and they're not bullshit. They're totally real. It's a disgusting system, and it's disgusting because of the leftists that work within it. Okay, and these leftist judges are very influential, and that's what this article is about how these leftist judges are stuffing up our legal system, and they're stuffing up Trump's freedom of speech at the moment, and they're stuffing up his attempt to run for presidency at the moment, and they're just illogical, retarded people, and I don't like them, and they've taken over our government.
Oh, well, there's obviously the Victorian judiciary is stacked full of leftist judges because Labor and Dan Andrews have been in power for so long. And this is why you got this absolutely obscene sentence handed down to a woman who ran over and killed a grandfather on a suspended learner's permit.
A killer driver's baby will join her behind bars and be out by Christmas after a judge handed the young mother an unusually low sentence. Alicia Fagan was on bail and speeding when she hit and killed Sadat Hassan. His family says he's been forgotten. Mimi Becker reports.
Surrounded by friends and family, this was Alicia Fagan's last taste of freedom for at least a few months. The new mother sentenced for killing Sadat Hassan in Sunshine in June last year. She was driving almost 30 kilometres over the limit on a suspended learner's permit, all while out on 4 counts of bail.
My dad was the victim in this. I feel that he has been forgotten in this matter. It was all about her.
Fagan told police at the scene she wasn't behind the wheel and 4 African men were to blame. She's since pleaded guilty, and today a county court judge said he's showing her mercy, accepting she's turned her life around. Her 6-week-old daughter was in court and is approved to join her in jail. The 22-year-old fell pregnant to her partner while both were staying in court-ordered rehab. As he handed her a 6-month sentence, Koori Court Judge Scott Johns said, "You are unlicensed. You should not have been driving at all," adding the impacts are devastating and enduring.
It has put us through a lot of stress and pain, and we're still a mess.
During the sentencing, Alicia Fagan was in tears before eventually being taken into custody. She blew several kisses to her partner, baby and family, saying, "See you soon." With time served, she'll be eligible for parole in just 3.5 months, while Sadat's family are adamant
he's never going to be forgotten.
Mimi Becker, 9 News.
Did you see she was sentenced by a Curie court, a judge, because she found out she was Aboriginal, and so she was also given a lenient sentence because she'd reconnected with her Aboriginal heritage. You saw what she looked like. She looks very Aboriginal.
It's ridiculous how many people are claiming to be Aboriginal, particularly Brittany Higgins. I mean, that's just a joke. It's like, can you even believe that? But it's so great you played that, Tim, because that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Where she was already out on bail because she'd done numerous things before
Four
that.
counts of bail.
Yeah, so why was the judge continually letting her out? This is what these leftist judges do. They treat women leniently and they let them out and they let them out. So she shouldn't have even been let out for these 4 counts of bail or whatever, right? And then she does this murder, right? And I mean accidental or whatever, but you know, she died. Someone died because of her. And then she gets this
And
small sentence.
a grandfather of color. So a blonde haired, a pale skinned Aboriginal woman is higher than a migrant family to Australia on the intersectionality oppression. And she also blamed 4 Africans as well. She tried to scapegoat the African community as well. So despite all of these people of color that she's hurt along the way, she's still based on the sentence, she's still the highest on the oppression chart there.
There should be like a royal commission into the leftist judge who let her out for all this, who was being so lenient to her for all the things she'd done before that. But that's why when I had my experience with the law, I was so shocked because like I just skipped community work and they smashed me so hard. And I when I was, you know, in jail and I saw all these other people and the stuff they were getting away with. And it was stories like that where people had charges upon charges and bails upon bails, and I was like, what the hell? When I told people my story, it was just ridiculous. They just didn't believe it because it was so unbelievable. But, you know, unless you know the truth about politics and the whole communist judges and all that sort of stuff, then you can understand what happened to me. But it's just outrageous. These leftists ruin our legal system, and we've got carjackings and homes getting broken into and stuff like that, and problems because of leftist judges and leftist police, and they're turning us into an Alice Springs and they're turning us into a South Africa. It's just how it is, you know.
I mean, Melbourne is described as one of the world's most livable cities, yet we have a crime in the suburbs continuing. And obviously we have Anthony Albanese. He is still pushing the voice.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was put into the Australian Labor Party national platform at their conference over the weekend. And it was interesting that there was this protest outside of the Labor Party conference that apparently Labor's commitment to Aboriginal reconciliation didn't go far enough.
Are you going to play the footage of the?
I'm trying to find that.
Okay, so there was an Aboriginal who, yeah, was pretty unhappy with Albanese.
I've got.
Are you? How many days a week do you drink, Tim?
I hardly drink at all these days.
Usually you can find videos quick and stuff, and you look like you can't even see, like you're trying to squint and see, like you're so drunk you can't even see, Tim.
Well, I've got so many different videos now.
All right, so well look, the audience I'm sure don't appreciate having a drunk host on the show. Like I understand having 1 or 2 drinks, but you've had like tons.
I've just had one.
You were slaughtered. I mean, even at the start of the show when we had the echo and stuff, you were so drunk you couldn't even hear the echo.
No, it just didn't show up on my end.
I think you're a bit of an alcoholic. For every time I've been around you, you've been drinking. It's always been in drinking situations.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll keep looking for that footage. But why don't we play also in the meantime the footage of so the Labour Party still believes that
sorry, Tim, can I cut in quickly just because I forgot to say there was a situation about a year ago where a black girl ran over her sister. Like she drove off, she had a fight with her sister and jumped in the car and like drove with her sister dragging half out of the car, and then her sister smashed into a parked car and died, right? And she got treated so lenient by the media and by the judges and stuff like that, because this, like, if that was a white man, particularly a right-wing white man, they would have destroyed him in the legal system for doing something like that. And this black girl got treated so well. So anyway, these leftist judges are just horrible and terrible, and they're absolutely racist against white people.
I mean, and they also more lenient towards women as well. I mean, women get a sentence than men for the exact same offense.
Yes, and when they have their family court stuff, the women, I understand a lot of the time women have the children and, you know, they don't have the ability to work as much, but they get a lot of the man's goods at the end of the divorce. They take heaps. It's radical. It's just like, what the hell? It's just... Anyway, this society, is, because it's run by communists, is designed to destroy white males like us, Tim. And that's why we should try and keep sober and not, you know, become addicted to drinks and...
Well, I'm not being violent or aggressive.
No, but I'm saying we should look at, like, because it's designed to destroy us. We've got to look after our health and remain sane and stuff, and not be drunk all the time and continually drinking. Like,
Mel McPhee says, grab another, Tim.
Yeah, Tim wants another one. Yeah, he probably wants to end up the podcast so we can have some more. So anyway, do you want to play this news report that's about the nuclear subs?
Yes, because AUKUS, the nuclear submarines, is in the Labour Party platform, but nuclear energy is apparently still bad.
The Prime Minister has stared down an internal challenge over the AUKUS deal for nuclear-powered submarines. A number of prominent union leaders and even a sitting Labour backbencher have used the party's national conference to call for the deal to be scrapped.
The main flashpoint of the Labour conference coming to a head. Dissent over AUKUS on the outside, spilling in to the tightly managed event.
This is in the national interest, and it's in Labor's interest.
Disgraceful day in Australia's history.
One of the country's most powerful unions moving to strike AUKUS entirely from the party platform. Concerns around how Australia will dispose of nuclear waste.
No nation on earth, in truth, has solved what we do with highly enriched uranium.
A Labor backbencher also breaking from the party position.
I'm not convinced the acquisition of nuclear-propelled submarines through the AUKUS arrangement is in Australia's national interest.
There are real and deep doubts about AUKUS that are just surfacing. So those divisions are not going away.
Labor's political branch bruised but prevailing, avoiding an embarrassing official vote, the result of weeks of talks to get delegates on side. Labor promising 20,000 unionised jobs and strengthened commitment to nuclear non-proliferation.
There is no more Labor act than you can take to support the statement of detail in the name of myself and Pat Conroy.
Drowning out the reverberations of this blistering attack by one of AUKUS's most scathing critics.
It must be the worst deal in all history.
Anthony Albanese reclaiming centre stage, stamping his authority on AUKUS.
I have come to the position, based upon advice and analysis, that nuclear-powered submarines are what Australia needs.
The Labor left leader using his factional power to tell delegates to face reality.
We have to analyse the world as it is rather than as we would want it to be.
The deep divisions within the Labor Party on the issue of AUKUS is on public display. While there's been room made for debate, the Prime Minister is adamant his government will push forward with nuclear propulsion. Aware of the internal and external politics of a national security debate.
The fact that Labor is split on the most important issue for our country, which is national security, is an outrage.
Keeping a lid on internal divisions for now. Sarah Temevska, SBS World News.
Now, those anti-AUKUS Labor unions and activists, I mean, basically they want Australia to be a vassal state of communist China. Basically, they love communist China. They love communism, and so they want Australia to be, well, they don't want Australia to be defenseless. They just want us to basically submit and bend over for communist China.
Well, those lefties, they don't think that nuclear power is good, even though it's actually quite clean and it doesn't cause this so-called heating effect to the Earth. They should be really pushing us to be switching to nuclear power, because I think you can just store the little poisonous stuff that it makes underground or something like that. And the fact that the military is using these submarines knows that you can do nuclear power and it can be done well. We should have our power nuclear. We shouldn't be using shitty windmills that don't work, wind farms that don't work. We shouldn't be using shitty solar panels that don't work. We should be doing nuclear power. If global warming really is a threat to the planet, then the powers that be would be switching us to nuclear power. But they're not.
Yes, it is the greenest, most efficient and safest form of nuclear power. Now, coincidentally, just before the Labor conference, there was this really bizarre Australian Border Force raid in an apartment in Sydney where they found, authorities said they found 52 vials of suspected hazardous substances, uranium isotopes, which is basically uranium, which has begun the atom splitting process to create nuclear fusion. So it said that they did this raid because they had detected a range of illicit substances being imported through air cargo. A 23-year-old man, Australian man, was assisting officials with the ongoing investigation. No charges had been laid. And this property was actually owned by an Australian Border Force official. I mean, what the hell? Like, they're raiding their own apartment. And they find all of this, it's report, and all the people were rushed to hospital for observation. It seems to be like, on the surface, like maybe it could be a PSYOP false flag to stoke anti-nuclear fear.
I don't think that. I think what goes on is that the intelligence agencies have agents placed in government departments, and they have them at the Border Force, and that's how they're able to bring in lots of illegal stuff and do lots of illegal activities, because they have guys in the police and they have judges and they have people in the prisons and they have people in the Border Force. So I believe that that they were bringing in some illegal shit, and a part of the Border Force that isn't infiltrated by the intelligence agency found out, and now it's all been a big stuff up. But that wasn't supposed to happen. It's kind of like how there's this restaurant, I believe, in Melbourne, the Titanic restaurant, which apparently had a secret government intelligence base underneath it, and that the Titanic themed restaurant in Williamstown was just a cover, that they would have restaurant meetings there once every 2 weeks, and that was all a cover, but it's really secretly an intelligence base. They found marijuana being grown.
So you believe that this was a stuff up by Border Force to raid their compound?
No, I believe that the people who aren't in on the intelligence agency scam, the operation basically found out. So the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing within the government, and it's some sort of stuff up. But with this Titanic base, anyway, they found out that marijuana was growing at that base, and that was all a big stuff up. So, you know, when you're doing intelligence operations, stuff ups happen, but just as long as you never get linked back to you, and that never seems to happen, they always seem to get away with it. But that's why if you order like a necklace, if you order drugs online or something, just a small amount, it won't get through the border. And if you order like a necklace, they'll be like, oh, that's made of wood. You can't bring that across the border. And it's just a little wooden necklace. But they check every little parcel, but then tons of drugs still come in here from overseas. And it's because the border force and the border checkers is all infiltrated and taken over. So, but what's interesting is that these intelligence agencies, they have technology that we don't have. And they possibly are using nuclear technology for some reason, and it would be very interesting to find out where that stuff was going to go towards, and I imagine it would be very interesting to find out what that was doing.
We'll see if we can get more information or be swept all under the carpet. It says there was no national security risk, so they're just saying like, oh, that's the end of the matter. I found that footage of the pay the rent protest outside the Labor conference. We got time to play it.
Yeah, let's quickly play that, and then we'll end off the show.
I'm a Jagger, a matriarchal woman. How fucking dare you come here with your politics? You get the fuck out of our nation and let us traditional owners deal with our shit. These are all handsomely funded. Look at this. We got parking over in that fucking park that my grandfather sanctioned. You get fucked. You want to listen, cunt? You come closer. Where's my bundi? Get my fucking bundi. He's all to be ashamed of your fucking selves. All he is. He's totally disrespect us traditional owners. Look, with your fucking handsomely funded foundations and trust funds. Where's the black fellas here? Put your fucking hands up. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Uncle. Get my fucking bundi. You want to talk politics? You come and sit at my fucking table. When are you going to sit at our fucking tables? Hey? You like to fund them? You're funding the wrong mob. Fucking pathetic, he's making me sick.
Classic, huh? Tim, do you look so loaded, Tim? Look at you. You are so
What?
so
This
loaded,
has only
Tim.
had one drink. It's 1.7 standard drinks.
You just look like you're just on cloud 9 or something, Tim. Your face looking all red and shit.
Well, it's not. It's only alcohol. There's nothing else in it. There's no toxic substances like in Aaron Patterson's Death Cap mushrooms.
Look,
the
Tim, you're too drunk to continue the show. We've got to end the show. We'll talk about the mushroom lady next week's show. We're coming up to an hour now. Just we'll end the show, okay, Tim?
Yeah, fine.
All right. See everyone later. Bye-bye.
Yep. And just before we go, Andy's already gone, so I guess I'll end the show. Good night, everybody. I will be back next Monday. Tim's News Explosion is actually moving to 9 p.m. Melbourne time. That is because I wanted to view 8 o'clock both of the Australia First programs, and also I've got my New Zealand radio pre-record earlier that evening as well, so I also need more time to prepare. So Tim's News Explosion, 9 p.m. Melbourne time, next Monday on the Wilms Front channels. Make sure you subscribe to the Theorists channels, give a thumbs up and comment below. See, I did my outro very good there. It was only Andy there who was making me appear more drunk than I actually was. All right, good night, everybody.